Hello, though many of us don't think about joints on a daily basis, we constantly use them and they help us move around.
Go. Hello there. Joints or articulation are sites where two or more bones meet. Joints have two functions to give our skeleton mobility and hold it together. They sometimes play a protective role in the process. Joints are the weakest part of the skeleton. Joints are classified by structure and function. The structural classification focuses on the material binding the bones together and whether or not a joint cavity is present. Structurally, there are fibrous, cartilaginous, and synovial joints. The functional classification is based on the amount of movement allowed at the joint. On this basis, there are synarthrosis, which are immovable joints, and diarthrosis, or freely movable joints. Freely movable predominant in the limbs. Immovable and slightly movable are in the axial skeleton.
Fibrous joints are joints in which bones are joined by fibrous tissue, particularly dense fibrous tissue, and it doesn't really contain any joint cavity. Now, there are three types of fibrous joints: sutures, syndesmosis, and gomphosis joints. Sutures occur only between the bones of the skull. They are held together with very short interconnecting fibers and bone edges that interlock with each other. Now, during middle age, the fibrous tissue ossifies and the bone spools fuse into a single unit known as synaptosis, and it's basically used as a protective measure. Syndesmosis. In syndesmosis, the bones are connected solely with ligaments and are variable in length, but a lot longer than sutures, allowing it to be more flexible and give more movement to, say, the tibia and the fibula. The last of the kinds of fibrous joints are the gomphosis joints, and are also known as a peg-in-the-pocket joint because of the way they look and work. A clear example of this would be the teeth, in which periodontal ligaments hold the tooth in the socket of your mouth. Now, in cartilaginous joints. Cartilaginous joints are articulating bones that are untied by cartilage. They aren't highly movable and contain two types: synchondrosis and symphysis. In synchondrosis, also known as the junction of the cartilage, the bones are united by hyaline cartilage. This can be seen in the epiphyseal plates of the long bones. In symphysis, the articular surfaces of the bone are covered with articular cartilage. The fibrocartilage acts as a shock absorber and doesn't allow too much movement around the joint. Some symphysis joints include the pubic symphysis of the pelvis. Now, synovial joints. Synovial joints are joints in which the circulating bones are separated by a fluid containing joint cavity. This allows for free movement. Nearly all joints fall into this category. Synovial joints contain many characteristics, including articular cartilage that keeps bone ends from being crushed, a joint cavity that contains synovial fluid for protection, as well as an articular cartilage capsule. The articular capsule is made of two layers: the fibrous outer capsule, which is composed of dense irregular connective tissue, and the inner layer, which is the synovial membrane that is made of loose connective tissue. It also contains ligaments that reinforce a joint. Most of them are capsular ligaments, which are very thin, though there are also extracapsular ligaments that don't actually lie within the joints. Synovial joints also contains many sensory nerve fibers that detect pain and monitor joint position and stretch. There are many types of synovial joints, including plane, condylar, hinge, pivot, saddle, and ball and socket, all of which help our body move the way it does. The range of motion varies from the axle.
Oh, hi there. You guys thought I was gone, didn't you? But I'm back. Get used to it. I'm gonna talk about a closer look. Joints. From knights in shining armor to bionic humans. That's a great title, don't you think so? The technology for fashioning joints in medieval suits of armor developed over centuries. The technology for creating the prosthesis used in medicine today developed in relative terms in flash less than 60 years. Unlike the joints in medieval armor, which was worn outside the body, today's artificial joints must function inside the body. To produce durable mobile joints requires a substance that is strong, non-toxic, and resistant to the corrosive effects of organic acids in blood. In 1963, Sir John Charnley, an English orthopedic surgeon, performed the first total hip replacement and revolutionized the therapy of arthritic hips. Replacement are now available for many other joints, including fingers, elbows, and shoulders. Replacement joints are not yet strong or durable enough for young, active people, but making them so is a major goal. Joint replacement.
Hey, what's up, guys? How you doing? I want to talk about a little bit about diseases real quick. But let's talk about a little bit of dislocated bones. You know what the easiest dislocated bone is? That's right, you guessed it, the TMJ. Basically, how you dislocate the TMJ is by you just yawning. It happens. It can go like this or like that. Sometimes when you yawn, like you hear a crack. That's what happens. So basically, this is what you gotta do to relock it back in place. Basically, you wanna go to the doctor because without an X-ray, you're probably done. Step 2. Put your index or your thumb on the cheek, between the cheek and the molars, on this part right here. Step 3. Pull it or push it depending on how it's dislocated. If it's not dislocated in the right spot, sorry, bad language, then probably you might have to get surgery. But let's get back into diseases real quick. Basically, the disease I'm about to talk about is something that's been going through a lot of places lately. It's about Lyme disease. And basically what Lyme disease is that it's basically a disease that comes from fleas that jump out of what? That's right, you guessed it. Deers. Deer ticks, basically they have it. And if they bite you, you can get joint pains which cause arthritis. That's right, arthritis. The only disease we don't have a cure for except for cancer and leukemia and leukemia isn't a disease. Do you want me to repeat it?
We'll edit it.
Yeah, alright. Basically, what arthritis is an incurable disease that happens to old people. That happens basically in their hands because most of the ligaments in their joints are basically depleted, and that's where you hear crack, 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 crack. And disease that is very familiar with, and I know one person that has bone disease. But yeah, like I said, it's bone disease. Basically, it's a disease that happens in the bone marrow, and the only way for you to bone
disease.
It's bone cancer. All right, can you edit that part or no?
Sure.
All right, bone cancer. Basically, bone cancer is that the only way for it to get better is that you need to replace the bone marrow by another suitable person. If not, death. Well, that's it, guys. Hey guys, I'm about to talk about the developmental aspects of joints. Basically, as bones form from mesocrine in the embryo, the joints develop in parallel, like that. By week 8, the synovial joints resemble adult joints in form of arrangements. The synovial fluid is being secreted During childhood, a joint's size, shape, and flexibility are being modified by use. Active joints have thicker capsules and ligaments and larger bony supports, of course. Injuries aside, relatively few interferences with joint functions occur until the middle age, basically like at 12 or 13 years old. Eventually, years take their toll and ligaments and tendons shorten and weaken. The intervertebral discs become more likely to herniate, which basically is that if you have too much weight on the back on your back, actually, you get a herniated disc, which results in surgery. So you gotta watch out for that. And osteoporosis rates are it's ugly. Virtually everyone has osteoporosis to some degree by the time they are in their 70s. So you're lucky, whoever's watching this. The middle years also see an increased incidence of rheumatoid arthritis, which is basically just arthritis in smart people words. Exercise that coaxes joints through through the full range of motion, such as regular stretching or aerobics. So you can't basically go like that until you're like that until you're cracked. Such as regular stretching or is a key to postponing the immobilizing effects of aging and ligaments and tendons, to keeping cartilages well nourished, and to strengthening the muscles that stabilize them.